Have you ever wondered why one person can occupy your mind for months or even years? You tell yourself it's over. You try to move on. You distract yourself with work, friends, or endless scrolling. Yet somehow, their memory keeps returning quietly, stealing your peace when you least expect it. The hardest part isn't always losing someone. Sometimes, it's realizing that even after they've left your life, they still live inside your mind. The Stoics understood something that most people never do. Your greatest suffering rarely comes from another person. It means freeing yourself from the invisible chains that keep your happiness dependent on someone who no longer controls your future. Hello everyone, welcome to the Stoic Hypnosis channel. In this video, you'll discover timeless Stoic principles that can help you let go with dignity, regain control of your emotions, and find peace without closing your heart. Stay until the final lesson, because it may reveal the one attachment that has never really been to another person, but to the story you've been telling yourself all along. Now, let's get started. Part 1. Accept that you are attached to an idea, not just a person. The first step toward emotional freedom is often the most uncomfortable one. It is admitting that the person you cannot let go of may no longer be the real person at all. More often than not, you are holding on to a memory, a version of them that exists only inside your mind. You replay the conversations that made you feel seen. You remember the moments that felt perfect. You imagine what your future could have been if only things had turned out differently. Slowly, without realizing it, you stop grieving reality and begin protecting an illusion. The Stoics warned against this quiet trap. Epictetus taught that suffering begins when we confuse our judgments with the truth. The person who lives in your thoughts is no longer shaped by who they are today. They are shaped by your hopes, your regrets, your unanswered questions, and your longing for what might have been. This is why detachment feels so difficult. You are not simply saying goodbye to another human being. You are saying goodbye to a future you imagined, a story you believed, and a version of yourself that existed when they were still part of your life. And stories are often much harder to release than people. That is why your mind keeps returning to them. Not because your heart is weak, but because unfinished stories naturally seek an ending. The Stoic does not chase that ending through another conversation, another message, or another chance. Instead, he accepts a difficult truth. Closure is rarely something another person gives you. It is something you create when you stop demanding that reality become different from what it already is. The moment you stop arguing with what has happened, you take the first step toward reclaiming your peace. Because emotional detachment does not begin when they change. It begins when you stop asking the past to become your future. Part 2. Stop making someone else responsible for your inner peace. One of the most liberating lessons the Stoics ever taught is also one of the hardest to accept. No person has the power to steal your peace, unless you quietly hand that power to them. At first, this idea may seem unfair. After all, they were the one who left. They were the one who changed. They were the one who broke the promise. Surely, they are the reason you feel this pain. But the Stoics would gently ask a different question. If your peace can disappear whenever someone changes their mind, was it ever truly yours to begin with? Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that the only thing completely within his control was his own character, not the opinions of others, not their affection, not their loyalty, and certainly not their decisions. Yet many of us unknowingly build our emotional lives on things we can never control. We wait for an apology before we can heal. We wait for a message before we can move on. We wait for someone else to finally understand our pain before we allow ourselves to breathe again. Without realizing it, we place the key to our happiness into someone else's hands. That is not love. It is emotional dependence disguised as hope. The Stoic chooses another path. He understands that love is beautiful, but peace must never depend on another person's presence. Because people are free to leave. Circumstances are free to change. Life is free to surprise you in ways you never expected. But your inner world, that is the one place you are responsible for protecting. The day you stop expecting another person to repair what only you can heal, something remarkable begins to happen. Your thoughts become quieter. Your heart becomes lighter. And little by little, you discover that peace was never waiting inside someone else's return. It was waiting for the moment you finally came back to yourself. Before we continue, take a quiet moment and ask yourself this. Have you been trying to let go of a person? Or have you been holding on to the story you created about them? If this message resonates with your journey, type "let go" in the comments below. Sometimes, one simple phrase is the first step toward reclaiming the peace you've been searching for. And if these Stoic teachings are helping you see life with greater clarity, consider subscribing to the channel. Every week, we share timeless wisdom to help you overcome emotional suffering, strengthen your mind, and build a life that is no longer controlled by fear, attachment, or the opinions of others. Now, let's continue. Because the next lesson reveals why the more you chase emotional closure from another person, the further you move away from the healing you truly need. Part 3. Stop chasing closure from someone who already let go. One of the quietest forms of suffering is believing that one more conversation will finally heal your heart. You tell yourself that if they would only explain why they changed, if they would only apologize, if they would only admit they were wrong, then perhaps you could finally move on. But weeks become months, months become years, and your peace remains trapped behind a door that someone else may never choose to open. The Stoics understood that this is one of the most dangerous ways to surrender your freedom. The moment your healing depends on another person's response, your emotional life is no longer your own. You become a prisoner of expectations, checking your phone for a message that never comes, replaying old conversations, hoping to discover words you somehow missed, imagining different endings to a story that has already reached its final page. But here is the truth that changes everything. Closure is not something another person owes you. It is a decision you make when you stop negotiating with reality. Seneca once observed that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. How often have you reopened a wound, not because something new happened, but because your mind refused to stop rewriting the past? Every unanswered question became another chain. Every imagined reunion became another reason to stay emotionally stuck. The Stoic chooses a different path. Instead of asking, "Why didn't they choose me?" he asks, "Why am I still allowing this memory to choose my emotional state?" That single question changes everything, because the goal is no longer to understand another person's heart. The goal is to reclaim your own. The day you stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to heal is the day healing truly begins. And from that moment forward, your future is no longer determined by the person who walked away, but by the person who finally decided to keep walking. Part 4. Fill the void within instead of chasing the person who left. There is a painful truth that few people are willing to face. Sometimes, you are not chasing the person. You are chasing the feeling you had when they were part of your life. The laughter, the late-night conversations, the comfort of believing someone understood you. Over time, your mind begins to associate that person with happiness itself, so when they leave, it feels as though happiness has left with them. But has it? Or have you simply forgotten that those feelings were always created within you? The Stoics believed that no external person could complete what was missing inside your own character. Another human being can inspire you. They can walk beside you. They can share your journey. But they were never meant to become the foundation of your emotional stability. The moment someone becomes the center of your identity, you unknowingly give them a responsibility no human being can carry forever. People change. Life changes. And eventually, every relationship is tested by circumstances beyond anyone's control. This is why emotional detachment is not about forgetting someone. It is about remembering yourself. It is about rebuilding the parts of your life that quietly disappeared while all of your attention revolved around one person. Return to the passions you abandoned. Reconnect with the dreams you postponed. Strengthen your body. Challenge your mind. Spend quiet mornings learning to enjoy your own company again. Little by little, something remarkable begins to happen. The emptiness that once felt unbearable starts becoming a space for growth instead of grief. You stop asking, "Who will make me happy now?" Instead, you begin asking, "Who am I becoming because of this experience?" That is the question a Stoic would ask, because every ending carries within it the possibility of a wiser beginning. One day, you will realize that the person who walked away did not take your peace with them. They only revealed how much of it you had unknowingly placed outside yourself. And once you bring that peace back home, no one will ever have the power to take it from you again. Part 5. Let them go without losing yourself. Perhaps the greatest misunderstanding about emotional detachment is believing that it requires you to stop loving. It doesn't. The Stoics never taught people to become cold, distant, or incapable of affection. They taught something far more difficult: to love deeply, without surrendering your freedom; to care for someone, without making your identity dependent upon their presence. That is the difference between attachment and wisdom. Attachment whispers, "I cannot be whole without you." Wisdom quietly replies, "I can love you completely without losing myself." Most emotional pain begins the moment we confuse another person's existence with our own sense of worth. We start believing that if they leave, something essential has been taken from us. But pause for a moment. Before you met them, you already had dreams. You already had strengths. You already possessed the ability to smile, to grow, and to build a meaningful life. Their presence added beautiful chapters to your story, but they were never the author of it. The Stoic understands that every person who enters our life is a traveler. Some remain for decades. Others stay only for a season. None of them were promised forever, and neither were we. Instead of asking, "How do I stop loving someone?" ask a better question. How do I continue loving life, even after someone leaves it? That single shift changes everything, because your purpose is greater than one relationship. Your character is stronger than one disappointment, and your future is far bigger than one goodbye. One day, you may remember them with gratitude instead of grief. Not because the memories disappeared, but because the pain no longer defines who you are. You will understand that letting go was never about erasing the past. It was about making room for the person you were always meant to become. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson Stoicism offers us all. Do not spend your life chasing those who chose another path. Spend it becoming someone who never abandons himself. Because the moment you return to your own mind, protect your own peace, and anchor your happiness in your own character, you discover a freedom that no relationship can give, and no goodbye can ever take away. Conclusion. In the end, emotional detachment is not about forgetting someone. It is about remembering yourself. The greatest Stoic lesson is this: your peace should never depend on another person's choices. You cannot control who stays, who leaves, or how others feel about you, but you can always choose how you respond, what you value, and the person you become because of every experience. As you leave this video, Ask yourself one question. What part of my peace have I been placing in someone else's hands? Begin reclaiming it today, one small step at a time. Spend more time strengthening your mind than chasing explanations, and invest more energy in your own growth than in trying to change another person. If this message brought you clarity or comfort, please subscribe to the channel and join our growing Stoic community. Your support encourages us to continue creating meaningful videos that help you develop inner strength, emotional freedom, and lasting peace. Thank you for taking the time to watch until the end of the video. See you in the next videos.